Cosmic Conversations. I am your hostess, Marla Martenson, and today I'm with a very special guest. Matt Kahn is here. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
Matt is the author of the best-selling book, Whatever Arises, Love That, published by Sounds True. He's a spiritual teacher and highly attuned empathic healer who's become a YouTube sensation with his healing and often humorous videos. His 9 million True Divine Nature YouTube channel viewers are finding the support they seek to feel more loved, awakened, and opened to the greatest possibilities in life through the invitation to join the love revolution that begins with you. And Matt's spontaneous awakening, because we always want to know what happened, right? How did this happen? It arose out of an out-of-body experience at the age of 8. And through his direct experiences with the Ascended Masters and Archangels throughout his life, and he has an amazing new book called Everything is Here to Help You. I am loving this book, and it's a loving guide to your soul's evolution. So I'm so excited. So this book I was doing. Well, I have so many questions, but I was doing this. I did the starseed activation and clearing. So I love that that's in this book because it's like interactive, and I was doing it, and I did feel energy. I felt I felt stuff at the crown. I felt energy moving throughout my body. So how do these, when you put an activation into a book, how does that work when somebody's reading?
Yeah. So just when I speak, there's healing energy that comes through my words right now on my YouTube videos in person. So there's an energy that comes through where people are able to feel and experience what I'm speaking about. So I offer healing through this transmission of presence, as it's called. And it's kind of like having a sense that you don't know how it works, but it always seems to work. So when I sit down to write a book, I feel currents of energy flowing from the universe through my crown and through my body and out of my fingertips. Okay. And I'm under the direct knowing that I'm infusing each word with a vibrational frequency. And then people get the book in their hand and they feel all the energy vibrating. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I can't teach someone step by step how to do it. Right. I just know that when I sit down to write a book, it happens. Or when I'm told you're going to channel activation, and I write out the words and I have people do the repeat after me, I'm channeling encoded information that as people repeat these words out loud, as they do the clearings and the activations, they are literally activating the energy of the universe to heal and awaken and transform themselves. Yeah. I am a conduit through which it occurs. On some level, I know how to do it, meaning I know when it's time to sit down and do it, and it happens. How I do it, even I don't know. Uh-huh. I just know how to put myself in the place for it to happen. Right. Well, it's so I'm having like this hot flash right now. I'm all sweaty. The energy, but yeah, and I can feel the energy. So that is so amazing. So okay, so on your website, there's this quote that says, "So many of us are in the depths of spiritual awakening and could use some support around the wildness, the weirdness, and the powerful energetics of it. As an awakening humanity, some of the multi-dimensional experiences we are having, part sci-fi, part quantum physics, part unimaginable, beyond what is seen and known. So how often do we hear, my friends and family, they don't understand what's happening to me right now." So I just thought that was so interesting because that's what's happening to me and so many people I know. And then to go on, which I totally relate to, we understand seeing sparkles of light, blue flashes, purple columns of energy, hearing angels speak in your ear, full sensory, third eye visions, kundalini zaps of rushing energy in the body, and having so many parts of the ego fall away at once. And so I see a flash of light now on the right side of my eye in the dark, so I see a flash of light, which I'm loving, and then I feel energy in the body, and I feel stuff at the crown, and I got activated for Reiki and stuff the last few years, but I never felt that stuff before, and so, and once in a while I'll hear some spirit talking to my ear, but then, so I think a lot of us are getting those little glimpses, and I think you are helping people
expand that, right?
And I'm honored that I have the opportunity to play that role. You know, from a very early age, I started to experience this type of psychic phenomenon. And what's interesting for me is when I experienced psychic phenomenon, for me, psychic phenomenon always came with the spontaneous knowing of what it was. Meaning, it wasn't like I was conditioned to be so in this world to where that type of stuff would freak me out. For me, every time I'd have a moment of psychic phenomenon, it came with an energy of, this is really home for me. This is where I come from. This is where I belong. And the human world was something that I had to adjust to, whereas some people come so conditioned in the human reality that when things like dimensions open up and you see sparkles and you see dark matter or you see photons of energy or spirit guides, you know, if you're really occupied in the worldly belief of things, that will definitely, you know, cause some stress because all of a sudden what you thought to be real is changing before your eyes. For me, every moment of psychic phenomenon came with the knowing of what it was. It's only here to help me, and it's coming from a loving, wise, benevolent source that I am connected with, that I'm living out its highest mission, that I cannot get wrong in any way. So because it always came with that inherent quality, it has allowed me to learn about this from my own direct experience, which then gives me the most pure opportunity to help other people come to terms with their experiences. Because really it's all about making peace with the light, opening our minds to something that we may not understand, but the things we can't understand are actually here to conspire in our highest favor. And when we're in ego, we tend to believe if I can't understand it, it must not be a good thing. And really the opposite is mostly true.
Right. Well, it's so interesting how many people now are trying to wake up and activate their third eye. And I'm doing all these cleanses to try to decalcify the pineal gland. I mean, it's unreal. And now my husband just thinks I've lost it because I put the kumkum and the turmeric on my forehead every night to try to decalcify it more. And I've, you know, spent thousands of dollars on workshops and thing. So here you come in like some rare people already open, and then everybody else is like trying to chip away at that calcification that maybe you're going to say that's not correct, but isn't it all the pineal gland that allows us to see these things?
Well, yes, at the same time, my pineal gland is completely open.
Yeah, why is yours and not other people's?
But the thing is, I'm not always seeing things.
Okay.
And I'm not under the impression that if I don't see things, it must be not open. Okay. So let's just measure it emotionally.
Right.
So if you say to yourself, my pineal gland must be calcified and shut, that may not feel good inside of your body. And if you say to yourself, my pineal gland is completely open, it's just that I expect to see more than I'm being shown.
Okay.
So what if it's completely open?
Right.
You're just not, it's not being used the way you assume it's supposed to be used. Like the assumption is if I'm a full-blown intuitive mystic psychic, earth angel, light worker, that I'm going to see visions every second of every day. I'm going to see angels every second of every day. I think from my perspective, and I just say this having worked with so many people over the years, I think I calculated, God, when I was writing the book, I put it in there. I've done over 13,000 healing sessions, and which is an outrageous number. Thinking back to
13,000 one-on-ones.
Yeah. Wow. And it was through those sessions that I learned about the other paths, because I only know what I've been downloaded with, and I had to learn about the other spiritual paths by working with people and piecing together this mystery. So what seems to be the case is there seems to be a very let's say ungrounded or unhealthy expectation of what life must be like if you are an intuitive, a mystic, or a psychic.
Right.
And when it's time for me to know things, I know things like that. When it's time for me to see things, I see things clearly. Every single person on this earth has the exact same relationship. It's just that you're only shown things
when it involves influencing your choices to stay on course. So wouldn't it be funny if you were to say to yourself, it's not that I see visions, it's that for me I'm on a journey where I'm not being asked to do much to stay on course, because what you're developing in this lifetime is the trust to know that you're never off course. So what if a lot of this, and I'm not saying there isn't something to the calcification of the pineal gland and the effect of EMFs, and that stuff does
the fluoride
play a
right, all that stuff.
There is, but what I would say is that if you're going to do anything beneficial, and I talk about this in the book, it's not just what to do on a spiritual path, but how to be on a spiritual path. We have to ask ourselves the question, are we doing it from a place of relaxation and joy, or are we doing it from a place of fear? And so if what you're doing is coming from a place of fear, you're doing the right technical things, but what energy are we anchoring vibrationally or emotionally? So do those things if it resonates with you, but I would say let's just do it from a place of joy, and let's change the perception. Let's say instead of it being my third eye is calcified and I'm trying to open it up, let's say I'm going to put the turmeric on my third eye to honor how open it already is.
Right. Instead of being afraid, like I swim in our swimming pool and I'm like, I know there's a bunch of chlorine in there and I shouldn't be in here, but I'm in here or something, because we're thinking of.
And why not set the intention that I intend that every moment in the pool, the chlorine is transmuted and the water is purified, and it nourishes my body, mind, heart, and soul, and transforms the entire planet with every moment in the water. And with every bite of food.
Yes. Instead of
with every bite of food, may all beings on this planet be nourished. May all beings manifest clean drinking water. May the oceans purify themselves. May villages find plentiful crops to feed their entire village with every bite of food I eat. So why not associate all of our actions to the intentions of the highest grace for all beings? And that's when we start to live at that level of intention. It's really what it means to shift from victimhood to being a co-creator.
I do that with the chemtrails. We have a lot of chemtrails. I look up in the sky and there's so many chemtrails up there that sometimes I just cry because I'm so feel so helpless, but then
I think since we're all interconnected, I'm not saying there isn't something to chemtrails. I'm not saying there isn't something to EMFs. I'm not saying there isn't something to all of the stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, all of these manifestations are manifestations of consciousness. They may take shape and form as unconscious expressions.
Right.
So here's a way of looking at it energetically.
Okay.
If something takes shape and form as an unconscious manifestation, that means it is a byproduct of the unconsciousness of the world, and something that is of unconsciousness in a world of polarity, which is opposites, can only have the ability to inspire an awakening of greater consciousness in the planet. So if it shows up unconscious, it can only inspire greater consciousness, and if it is a manifestation of consciousness, it can only up-level the consciousness that's already awakened. So if we understand vibrationally, you may look up in the sky and you may say chemtrails, but the question is, as a co-creator, what does that represent? Why not look at the chemtrails and say, instead of representing how appalling and what bad shape the planet is, what if you say, every time I see a chemtrail, it is a confirmation that the world is awakening in greater consciousness? Why can't it represent the evidence of your deepest aspiration?
Great. I can't wait to share this video in the chemtrail group on Facebook.
and I've talked to a lot of people who are very much into it, and I'm not denying that there is such a thing, right? That would be denial.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, look, you see something in the sky, and you are making a decision as to what it represents to you, and then your emotional body responds to the level of consciousness you are adding to the atmosphere of the planet. So if all of us want to live in a planet where there is no such thing as chemtrails, we have to anchor a vibration of consciousness that does not allow something that dastardly to enter the atmosphere. And in order to create that energetic shift, what we see of unconsciousness in the world has to begin representing the aspirations of greater consciousness. And it's not saying it doesn't exist. It's saying, with this chemtrail I see, I accept it as proof that the world is awakening to greater consciousness, and this is the countdown of the few remaining times that I'll even see a chemtrail, because it is showing me that the chemtrails are becoming extinct as the world awakens to truth. So that's our opportunity.
I love that, Matt. Thank you. And so you and a lot of other spiritual teachers talk about the Earth's energy is really changing now, or it's so. Explain a little bit about that. What does that mean for us? What's going on with that?
Well, I'll tell you something that came to me as a download, and I'm not sure, everyone explains it differently. I'll just explain what comes to me. Okay. What comes to me is that the Earth has already shifted into a fifth dimensional paradigm. But what hasn't shifted into a fifth dimensional paradigm are all the residents of this planet. Mm-hmm. So the reason why we're going through such a catastrophic, and I mean catastrophic not in negative terms, we're going through such a magnificent awakening of consciousness is, and if you think about it, why is it at this time of the planet over the last so many years it's been escalating and more people are waking up? Yeah. It would only make sense that the reason why people are waking up in such large numbers is because the planet has already shifted into a fifth dimensional frequency. And the shifting of the planet and the global warming and all these things that we see is the planet no longer tolerating the unconsciousness that beings in their own free will still embody and radiate out into the atmosphere. So it makes sense that the world is already in a fifth dimensional reality, but here's the interesting paradox. The world, the Earth, the planet is in a fifth dimensional alignment, right? That happened many, many years ago. During, I forgot what it's called.
The harmonic
convergence. Yeah. That's when it happened. And that's actually when I got hugely activated and I started teaching on this path. Harmonic convergence is when it happened. Thank you. You just dropped that in for me. But here's the interesting thing. The planet's in a fifth dimensional alignment, but the society isn't.
Right.
The culture of the people are not all in a fifth dimension, which is why we're seeing, like, if we think of it in a very simple terms, a baby, when they're in their dream state, think they're somewhere else, and then they crash back into their body with the, oh my God, I thought I was somewhere, now I'm here. Yeah. So when a baby wakes up from dreamland, there's the adjustment of from one dimension to the other, and usually children cry. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the upheavals of this planet, it's like the collective unconsciousness is like an infant adjusting from dreamland to reality, and the baby is crying, adjusting from its dream to its abrupt awakening to reality, and we as the way showers of the light and the stewards of unity consciousness hold humanity like a baby in our arms, and we just love it through its adjustment and growing pains.
Yeah, because I've never seen so many, maybe because I'm into this too, I'm seeing it, but I've never seen so many healers and crystal healers and mediums and psychics and empaths. Everybody's an empath, everybody's this and that. But then I never noticed so many people shootings and,
right.
violence either. Now, I think, well, are people going crazy because of all the heavy metals in the pollution in the society that's making, or is it the, sometimes I'll think all the abuse of the animals and all the factory farms around the world, that it's now that people are, it's affecting their energy, or is it this, or, there's so many possibilities you think about. So do you have any downloads on information from your guides or anything on that one?
Of course. What's happening is, when you're what's the difference between unconscious and conscious? Unconscious is, I'm going through a healing crisis and transforming from ego to soul, but unconscious means I'm unaware of it, and I don't know how to be on a healing journey without taking my stored hurt and using it to hurt other people. So unconscious means I'm healing, but my hurt makes me want to hurt other people. Conscious means I'm aware of I'm on a healing journey, and I'm able to hurt and grow and expand without hurting other people. So that's the dividing line. Mm-hmm. So when you're seeing people do what they're doing, you're seeing people going through dark night of the soul, you're seeing upheavals of cellular debris getting triggered, but you're seeing people that are so unaware of what life is as a magnificent healing journey of the soul's evolution that they don't know how to deal with their hurt without needing to hurt another person. So what we're seeing is unconsciousness transforming into consciousness, and the upheavals and the violence we see is blowing out of the atmosphere the stored cellular memory of how much unconsciousness has occurred on this planet as we clear the slate and allow new seeds of consciousness to emerge, which is why when we see things on the news, negativity, we see chemtrails, factory farming, whatever the thing that really bothers you, what is our response? Our response is not to turn to people and continuing the gossip and to continue being spokespeople for the negativity. There's no denying it's happening. Right. But our choice is this negative thing happens. So through the law of polarity, it's a flashcard that says neutralize it with a more positive blessing. So if I see factory farms, may all animals be blessed and set free. Yeah. If I see murder, may all children be healed. May all beings be liberated and healed and brought to consciousness. Every time I see something negative, I go into the defense position of a prayer. And that's how we become initiated and activated as light workers.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and it's not only the physical violence, it's even the trolls online. You know, you'll see videos on YouTube, or, you know, I'm a writer. I remember one article I put up, and then there were probably 100 comments and all nasty and me. You know, there's so many people, so I never respond. And you just, but it's coming out even that way, just like, tantrum, you know, and like, let me write this nasty comment about these people.
So I use YouTube, I use Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as ways in which I put out my teachings, and I use it very vibrationally. So, you know, nowadays in my career, I'm very, you know, popular, and I get a lot of very positive attention, which is a wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah.
I answer to my source, but it's nice to know that it's resonating. And for me, I take it more as the world is resonating with the vibration of love. So I take it about yay to love. Not necessarily about me, but, you know, every once in a while on YouTube, there will be a comment, or on, you know, Facebook, you know, whatever the case may be. But what I've done, especially on Facebook, what I do is every time I post, every comment that comes in, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, and I read every single comment, is every comment gets a like. And people know from my work that when I like, a like is a confirmation that I've sent healing energy to that person. And when a person says something nasty to me, I like it to say your healing blessing has been sent. Uh-huh. So I may not respond back,
right?
But I like every single comment. And when someone is nasty towards me, yes, that is showing me, first of all, the nastiness they're saying to me isn't actually about me.
No.
It's them speaking out the way someone treated them that caused them to shut down and be so unconscious and victimized and insufferable. Right. So they're literally showing me what keeps them from showing up in the light that I represent. So their soul is begging for a healing by hurling nastiness at me. Right. So they say something nasty, I give them a blessing. Someone says something respectable, I give them the same blessing. And I just serve the world, and I make it more about people's pain and healing and less about me. I'm just here to serve.
Yes, I love that. Just send everybody. They're crying out for a healing. If they're nasty, if they're mean,
they must be in. To say these things about me, they must be in. How much pain must they be in
exactly.
to say these things about me? A person who is going to verbally and, you know, so articulately slander my name.
Right.
I don't have the desire to defend myself against slander, because I know who I am.
Right.
So when I see someone every once in a while go off the deep end and completely make me their Darth Vader, what just seems so obvious is how much pain must they be in order for me to be their enemy.
Right. I think they're just looking for, I remember the funniest, I actually laughed. I don't get many negative comments either, luckily, but one time I do a video series with my friend Karen Dahlman, and she's just gorgeous. And one guy made a comment, and he says, "Oh, they're the two uglies again," you know.
Wow.
And I laughed. I mean, it's like, what can you come up with? I don't know, you know. It's like, geez, thanks, you know.
Just like, and may you be blessed.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
may you learn to see women not as physical objects.
Right.
Not as objects of desire. May you learn to honor, your own heart as the supreme goddess, and may you, in that respect, may you learn to respect all women. And then you turn to a prayer. May all women be honored for their beauty and their light, and no longer confined into the belief of being objects for anyone's desire.
Perfect. Now that's a segue, because I'm a matchmaker and dating coach, so long time now, and I know when I listen to your radio show, and women will call in every show. I listen to Hay House Radio all the time. People will call in and ask about relationship. When's my soulmate coming? And they're in pain looking, and mostly women will be calling in. Most guys don't call in and ask that, but so even though they're out there looking, believe me, I'm matching them up. Right. But what can you say I have a lot of single people following me that'll be seeing this, and what would you say to a single person looking? How are they going to bring that person in? An easier, maybe a little trick or magical affirmation or some shift. Yeah.
Well, of course, so by the laws of, and just the laws of how energy moves, life can only add more energy to energy. So just to think of it in very simple terms, for nearly every single person walking the planet, the ego is fed and operates by the energy of incomplete. So the belief is I'm incomplete until fill in the blank. I'm incomplete until I manifest my soulmate, until I'm the president of my corporation, till I'm making $1 million, till I own my own Learjet, till I have my own house, till I have 1 million followers on Facebook, till I am an Instagram star, until I am sponsored by, until I'm, whatever, whatever the case may be. I'm incomplete until chemtrails go away, until everything is non-GMO, until everyone is a vegan. And I'm not saying any of these things are not important.
Right.
It's just the ego gloms onto something that says this is the external reason why I'm incomplete, and until that changes, I'm not myself. Now, if you believe that, and on the spiritual journey it's even more difficult, because you say, I'm incomplete because my third eye seems to be calcified, my chakras don't seem to be open. And there's all this negotiation that goes on. So if we find completion, if we find fulfillment within ourselves by learning and by saying, I'm not incomplete because of these things, I'm incomplete because my relationship with myself is not as aligned. Mm-hmm. If I learn to become aligned with myself on all levels, and of course in my new book, Everything Is Here to Help You,
I
highlight it so in vivid detail, step by step.
Yes.
When we become whole within ourselves, that's when life says you're already whole, now we can add more wholeness to you. Right. So only when we're whole within ourselves can the most fulfilling relationship enter. Only when we're whole within ourselves can the most fulfilling outcome career-wise or even globally occur. So if we are not complete, we are only manifesting things that cause us to remind us how incomplete we believe ourselves to be, or based how incomplete we are because of the things in the past we haven't healed, like our core wounds. Yeah. So life's job is to bring up whatever core wound keeps us believing we're incomplete. Once we start shifting into a state of completion, that's when never-ending fulfillment can come our way. So we have to first find it within ourselves, and everyone's heard that for many, many years.
Love yourself, love yourself.
Yeah. No one knows how to do it. So I wrote a book that's energetically encoded, that step-by-step teaches everyone how to actually do the thing we know we're here to do, but that no one really knows how to do. And I love the fact that I was given the chance to demystify it step-by-step in this book.
So so in everything is here to love you. So when people are doing the clearings and activations, which is repeating your downloads and then sitting and letting it integrate, that is actually clearing some old. Is that clearing some old stuff? Because you were mentioning healing those core wounds.
Absolutely. It clears cellular memories from different stages of your development in childhood. It can even address wounds and imprints that we've absorbed in the womb. It can clear ancestral bloodlines. It can clear genetic lineages. And it can also clear the cellular memories of trauma and karma that are actually imprinted into the atmosphere of the world that we've unknowingly taken on from the world and made into our belief of ourselves. So the possibility and potential of what can be cleared and resolved and activated through this book is literally unlimited. I mean, these clearings and activations I channeled at my retreats, and this buzz got created about my events of like, oh my God, you go to these events and the real healing is happening. I mean, literally, people would walk in and like crutches from some injury on day 3, they're throwing them to the side and dancing, and people's wounds started healing spontaneously. And I'm in my body watching this, as astounded as everyone, because even though I do this healing work and it happens through me, I'm just as astounded by what happened as everyone else. Because when I was a kid, I said to the sky, as if that's where God lives, right? The sky. And I said, I want to serve your will, and I want to bear witness to your miracles every single day. I want a front row seat to watch the miracles of God unfold. And humbly, that's actually what became of my life. And so I wanted to write a book where I put a lot of the activations in there. People can explore them on their own time. And of course, the other reason I did this is if I put all the activations and clearings in this book, that would mean that I'm ready to download from the universe the next series of activations and clearings that I'm now getting ready to take on the road and to share with people on my group healing tour. So it's all just so very exciting.
And then how often, so I did some of these, but should you do them once a month or one time what do you suggest?
I think it's all subjective. I say you do it once, give it a couple days or a week.
Yeah.
It's not like the more you do it, the more powerful it is. It's more of just feel your way through it. I would say, like once every week is probably the most I would do.
Right.
Once every 2 weeks probably seems pretty fair. Once a month, that's okay. But a lot of times what happens is, and the reason why you can do it more than once is because you do it once and that will up-level you to a certain place. Once you're up-leveled, you can actually do the same one and up-level again. So there's no limit to what potential can be gained from this. It's just making sure we're doing it in a very responsible and respectable way towards our energy and not trying to... Like here's the analogy I give. Do you remember when you were a kid? At least I do.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to cross the street, and I pressed the crosswalk button, and I was under the impression that if I kept pressing it, the light would change faster.
Oh, people do that now. I see them doing it all the time.
So I think energetically we think, if I keep pressing the button...
It's not going to make a difference.
Right? And so I think it's just a matter of trust our inner guidance, and let's really honor the sacred nature of these activations and clearings, and let's allow these gifts to be received with the utmost respect, not like hitting a morphine button, not coming from a place of fear and scarcity, but coming from the deepest ceremonial respect for the sacred gifts that life is giving us. That for me has always been at the core of my messages. I can help facilitate the most miraculous things that blow my mind every single day. And the reason I do that is because I inherently have so much respect for the universe that when in my presence, people step into that respect for the universe. And when we all have that kind of mutual respect, that's when the universe steps forward and the miraculous occurs.
So whether they're someone's doing a one-on-one with you, or a group, they're still going to get that same powerful healing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right now I'm not even doing one-on-one sessions just because my schedule gets so busy and I have so much travel and I'm writing, books and my radio show, and I just wanted to make sure I had some time to really care for myself and keep things pretty balanced. And so right now, the best opportunity for someone to experience a one-on-one healing with me occurs in these group healing sessions I do on tour, where whether it's a 2-hour event or a full-day immersion or a retreat, everyone has the experience like they're the only one in the room. And I'm literally facilitating healing for hundreds of people simultaneously. I don't know how I do it. I just know how to put myself in the place for it to be done.
And I think I think it was on your website, I was reading about your healings about frequency, so you can see someone's frequency within them? Can you do that, and then you know what they need? I think that's what I was understanding.
As an empath, I feel people's frequency, so I can feel where they're at. So it's kind of like we all have feelings.
Right.
And you can kind of pick up on what you feel around someone, right? You get like a vibe.
Oh, yeah.
But my feelings come with very clear information. And it's not like I walk around the grocery store like this.
Right. Like
I'm at a place, thankfully, that this only happens when I'm working. Like when I'm leading a group healing session, when I'm answering a question on the air, whatever. When I'm working, it comes through. Energetically, I can always feel people around me. But it's only like I'm just feeling where people are at, so I know, like, oh, wow, that person's in a bad mood. Let's give them some space. Let's not crowd them, kind of a thing. So it's just I'm aware of where people are at as a gift of mindfulness. But only when I'm working and when I'm being called by the universe to play the role that I play, only does that then come with such specific information of like, okay, I feel where this person's at. This is where they're at in this relationship, and it's because of this issue with this parent. And I just kind of see information through my feelings. So my feelings have eyes, and I feel, and it gives me a great download of information, and it just kind of, I'm being guided what to say and do while transmitting this energy. And like I said, in the moment, I know exactly how to do it.
Right. Well,
and it's a very mysterious and it's a very mysterious thing, and yet at the same time, it's been the most reliable thing. Like people will say, well, how do you just trust what comes to you in every single moment? It has been the most reliable thing of my entire life, and it's the most mysterious. And I think that's what a lot of us have to really get over is, yes, it's mysterious, right, but it's the most reliable force if you can trust. And the reason we can't trust is because we don't know how to love and be loved. And again, that's why the whole coming home process out of ego and into the soul is highlighted throughout the book, so we can actually trust, receive, and be the miraculous beings that we are.
I love that. Well, since you brought up being an empath, there's something in the book on page 120, empathic reincarnation. So, because now also I'm hearing about everybody's an empath. I'm an empath. And so I'm going to read something here.
Yeah.
An empath is an energetically sensitive being who is aligned with their soul to the degree that they are able to sense the emotions of others that their energy field clears. A victim is an empath in training who equally clears and activates the energy fields of others, but without the awareness of their living contribution to all. No matter what world is perceived in view, it is made up of two distinct groups of empaths. So this was interesting, the two groups. There are those who know of their empathic tendencies, but are left without a clue as to how to develop their innate gifts into fully functioning intuitive abilities. And there are also empaths who have no idea they're empathic and tend to see their journey through the eyes of blame and judgment.
That's
so
right.
I thought that was interesting because somehow I thought, well, I don't know if, I'm pretty empathic in the way that I can't even stand, I'm a vegan and I can't, just knowing what's going on out there, I can not handle it. It's very hard for me to be on this earth, to tell you the truth, with all the pain.
Sure.
So, but then at the same time, people say, well, I'm an empath. I feel everything people feel. Well, who wants to do that? Who wants to feel everybody's pain, right? So, because kind of people will brag that they're an empath, right? But I think this might be some new age kind of jargon they're getting into or something.
It could be. And I think that the difference between being paralyzed by your empathic abilities or the pride of being an empath is really what you do with the opportunity. I mean, I, for one, feel the pain of everything. But at the same time, whenever I feel pain, it is an opportunity for me to anchor light for the further absolving of pain in all human beings. So I think what happens is when we make the most of, when we feel pain and we use it as a constructive, positive way to anchor the light, I think our relationship with pain transforms. And I think when we're so inundated by the pain that we don't know how to respond constructively, it's very easy to get completely overwhelmed and swallowed whole by what the world denies. So really in each of our lives, the invitation is for each of us to say, okay, I'm feeling this right now. How can it motivate and inspire conscious action for myself right now? And I think, the misstep can be for a lot of people. The misstep can be, I see wrongdoing, and if I whistle blow and bring wrongdoing to enough people's attention, the wrongdoing's going to stop. And yet we have a lot of people in social media, no fault of anyone's, who don't know what to do, so we all talk about the wrongdoing we see in the world.
Yes.
And yet wrongdoing continues to teach us that no matter how often we try to whistleblow and tell other people about the wrongdoing, it doesn't actually seem to change the wrongdoing that occurs.
Right.
It seems very passive to a lot of people if they listen to me to say, for me to stop and just send a blessing and responses, that sounds like, most people will say that sounds like hokey pokey bullshit, right?
Right.
At the same time, I can only speak from the living testimony of dedicating my entire life to doing this process. And over the last 15 years, every single day, doing exactly what I'm sharing. And I am the living result of that work. And my ability to be a healing transmission of energy has only been given to me because of that dedication. And so instead of me just being the one who's transmitting energy to heal other people, what I want to do on my mission is activate other healers to be better healers. And we're all healers, we're all empaths. I want all of us to learn how to transmit the energy that absolves the things that devastate us, that bring to life a reality where we can be nourished, but no one has to be hurt along the way, where we can live in a world where we are in harmony with our land. We are respectful towards men and women and children of all races, cultures, sexual orientations, respect to our earth, respect to our animals. This is the world I want to create. But I am very well aware of whenever I see something of a certain vibration, I understand the invitation it is for me in my participation and what good that creates. And it's so easy for someone who hears this to go, I'm turning a blind eye. Because the fear is if I just do this energetic stuff, what if I'm one of the reasons why it gets worse? And it simply comes down to a fork in the road. Do we act from a reactive place of fear, or do we respond from the consciousness of love? And because love will have the final say in this final battle, the choice is ours to hide in the darkness or to enter the light. And all I'm here to do is to transmit such a loving vibration to coax the world into the light and to intoxicate the world into the light through the fragrance of love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That reminds me of when Mother Teresa, they wanted her to participate in an anti-war march or something. She says, I won't march against war, but I will, if you have a rally for peace, I will be there. So the last thing, before I let you go, is would you say that Earth is a school? Is that what it is for us? Because it is a pretty tough place. So are we here, because you talk about, I think it was yesterday in your radio show, you were talking about how we're all angels and so did we just come in here to deal with a bunch of crap and then, learn from it? Or, why are we here?
Why are we here? Well, sometimes,
Can you make that in a 1-minute soundbite?
Yeah, totally. Sometimes it seems like Earth is the ghetto of the universe.
I know, exactly.
The artist district, right?
That's right.
It's up and coming, right? But
wrong side of the tracks in the universe.
it's kind of hardcore. But the reality is that Earth is a holographic field trip where angels in training and spirit guides as souls enter this world holographically, incarnate as people. And what we're learning to do through the evolution of consciousness, like, for example, imagine you were told in heaven, hey, you're going to be a guide, and you're going to learn how to guide the life and evolution of another person, of a being, and you're very excited. And you come here, and it takes you most of your life to figure out that the person you're here to guide is the body you inhabit. So we're learning to be, we're being trained to be angels and spirit guides after this lifetime if we've reached a certain level of awareness and
so we
completion.
know what the human's going through that we're guiding.
What's that?
So that we know if we're a guide after we pass away and then we become somebody's guide, we know everything they've gone through because we were there. So
exactly. We got ourselves through the journey. You know, in order to guide another, you have to be guided.
Yeah.
So this is our initiation. This is our Angel Academy. This is our school where we are learning, because we are going to guide other souls through different journeys, and we have to know the road. So this is our initiation into the future destiny of our journey, which is to become spirit guides and angels for other souls. And by the work we're doing now, we are also ensuring that future incarnations of soul groups can incarnate at a certain vibration, and instead of having to go from dark to light, they can enter as a light and just go into higher frequencies of the light without having to go to dark in order to wind up at the opposite vibration. So we're also ensuring that the future of humanity can have a much easier journey. On all levels, it's a very selfless journey.
Yeah.
It's not something that you willfully chose. It's a mission that chose you. And that's a very deep aspect of this.
That is. Gosh, well, Matt, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. It's been an absolute delight. So you guys, leave a comment and let us know what are you doing to raise the vibration of the planet. I want to hear and what you have to say about it. And much love, and until next time, everybody. Bye.